So right now I want to pass the microphone over to Brother Hussein. He's going to share with us the Islamic obligations and the ethics in Islam that promote for us to take care of the needy, the poor, and that includes the orphans among us.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Idris, for hosting us in this event, and Brother Yusuf for briefly reminding us of the importance of Ramadan. Inshallah, I'll just take a little bit longer than that, so if you guys could just bear with me. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So with that, I'll start by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise and thanks are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, owner, and sustainer. And may the peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon the most esteemed leader and most honorable teacher, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his companions, and those who follow him until the day of judgment. Allahumma ameen. And to begin, I'd like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this wonderful opportunity. And secondly, to thank the management of Masjid Khadija for hosting us here and allowing us to do the event. And also Sister Jamila and the volunteer team for putting together a wonderful event that's not really about the quantity, but really the quality. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And last but not least, I would like to thank each and every one of you here for participating in this program, as well as the sisters and the volunteers that have been working really hard. And inshallah, I'll quickly mention 3 main reasons why we should support the orphans. And these are specific reasons that we should all consider when we're thinking about sponsoring. And if you're like Brother Yusuf, at all costs, you're ready to go for whatever reason, then that's the attitude of a Muslim, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So with that being said, before I get into the 3 reasons, I would like to touch on 2 main points real quick. And one of them is we have to understand our objective in life. We really have to pay attention to our objective in life. So we might ask ourselves, what is our objective? And when we look at the society that we live in, there's 1,000,001 answer. But as a Muslim, we just go to the Quran and the Sunnah, and it's right there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I have not created the jinn and the ins except that they worship. And the scholars have mentioned worshiping is doing anything and everything for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second important point to keep in mind in this process is the words of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu when he mentioned حَاسِبُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ قَبْلَ أَن تَحَاسَبُوا. To account for yourself before you are accounted for. How do you account for yourself? Ask yourself, where are you in your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In terms of your closeness to and the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if anybody reflects, there's only 3 options. First one is you're really close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All your dua and everything are answered promptly. Or you could be very, very far from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And your heart is turning a little bit harder, and you can't feel the pain of the Muslims around the world and in our backyards, as Brother Yusuf mentioned. But what I would like to mention is, when you consider your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everyone here knows where they are, and it just takes a little bit of pondering. What will draw you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and allow you to achieve the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There's many things, but today what I would like to highlight is sponsoring and supporting the orphans. Whether you have money or not, there's many ways that you can sponsor. But particularly here, we're talking about your donations. And getting into the 3 reasons why you should consider helping the orphans. Number 1, it is because they have basic needs and necessities. Just like everyone here, they have need for clothes, shelter, food, water, as well as basic education and a simple support system to make sure individuals are not taken advantage of them. So, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, let's keep the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in mind, in that point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that we should give from our wealth, in spite of our love for it, to the kindred, the kinfolks, as well as the yatim, the orphans. So that's the first main reason why we should support the orphans, is because we would be able to help them with their basic necessities. The second most important reason, and I'll be concluding shortly here with the last topic, with the last reason, is we have to realize it is not really about them all the time, it's really about us. Giving is a selfish act, if you really look at it. Because once you give the orphans, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. And the two main rewards that I would like to mention amongst the ocean of rewards is that once a man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked him, and pretty much in a summary told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, my heart is hardened. I can't feel the Quran when it's being recited. Whenever I pray, I don't feel khushu'. It is as if I have a dead heart. And the Prophet ﷺ advised him and instructed him to go compassionately touch the head of an orphan. This is just to highlight the importance of taking care of the orphans. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that for every hair that you touch on this orphan, you'll get a reward for it. On top of that, your heart will become soft and you'll feel the compassion. Such is the reward of the orphan. And the other point of reward that I would like to mention is to reach the highest level of Jannah with our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not an easy task. But one of the quickest ways that I've seen is to support the orphans. For our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, the person who takes care of the orphans and I in Jannah are like this. He put his hands together, his two fingers. And the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, will be like this, meaning on the same level. Can you imagine the value of that reward and the height of that reward simply by supporting $1 a day, $30 a month, $365 for the whole year? We probably waste out on some nonsense throughout the year. And the last point is, when you give to the orphans, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of you. Just like we know the story of Khidr and Musa alayhi salam. When he was taking him through the lessons, he got to a place where there was a wall for an orphans that he built up. Right? And he asked them, why were you doing that when the people of the town were not kind to you? And he said, it is because this wall is protecting the treasure of the orphans. And because their father was righteous. Because their father was righteous. So taking care of the orphans, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of us. And to summarize and conclude, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we have to remember our ultimate objective in this dunya and in the akhirah is to gain close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seek His pleasure. And we have to take ourselves to account before we are accounted for, as Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu mentioned. And one of the best ways to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to support the orphans. And bi'idhnillah, continue to do so with every ounce of your being, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. And I'll conclude here, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive me and you. And I ask all of the Muslimin to seek the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is oft forgiving and most merciful. Jazakumullahu khair for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.